I realize it's probably insane to believe, but yes, it is November.
It's 2 a.m. and I can't fall asleep, 'cause I'm not tired. I'm thinking about the days we used to shine when we were young. I told you that we should start a band and reach for...
Hey there friends, it's Carly. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new here, and welcome to today's video, which is a November reset routine. It is hard to believe that we only have 2 months left of the year, which means it's time to really get organized. Christmas is fast approaching, New Year is fast approaching, and for me, baby is fast approaching. So today we are doing all our usual cleaning, planning, and monthly resetting. So if that is something you're keen to see, grab yourself a cuppa and let's get into the video. I'm also just trying to figure out the new filming setup in this place. I've currently got no curtains or blinds. I've got virtually no furniture in the house, so there is going to be a strong echo happening just about everywhere, but we will figure it out as we go along, and as you know, things start to get ticked off the seemingly never-ending to-do list. I gotta say though, this is a good cup of coffee. I did well. I am starting off this month's reset routine with the planning portion. So if you are keen to get organized and plan with me, go and grab your journal, your diary, your highlighters, pens, all the fun things that help to get you organized. I'm grabbing mine out, and I've also printed off my digital reset planner. If you weren't aware, I have started a collection of digital monthly and weekly reset planners that are available over on my Etsy store for download. So if you want to go check those out, I'll leave a link in the description box below. I did make them in a digital version, so you can download them as a PDF and use on your phone, laptop, or tablet. But for me, I really like having hard copy things, so I decided that this month I was going to print out my reset planners, and I'm going to stick those into my journal. So I've just used my Becoming Her monthly reset planner. I've written out my affirmations for the month. I've also written out my monthly reset objectives in terms of home, health, work, and finance. And then I'm going to take those reset objectives and turn them into my monthly goals, which I'll write out on this list. I'm going to try and keep my goals to no more than 5 so that they are achievable. And then in order to make them even more achievable, I'm going to chunk them out into smaller goals, and I'm going to use my week at a glance planner to help chunk those out and be able to do like a bite-sized piece of the goal each day or each week to help it be more achievable. So what I've set as my 5 goals for November are: number 1, start a new savings plan. I'm actually even going to start that right now, or start the process of achieving that goal right now. I'm going to use my other journal, and I'm going to plan out my predicted income and also expenditures for November, as well as some things that I'd like to strategically save some money for. Number 2 is to create consistent quality content online. So for me, in terms of YouTube, I'd love to be able to do my 2 videos a week and have that continue throughout November. I've also been posting regularly on TikTok, so my aim is 3 to 4 TikTok videos a week, and then more consistent posting on Instagram, so ideally 3 times on Instagram as well, and then being able to repurpose my TikTok videos for both Instagram Instagram Reels and then also YouTube Shorts. I have been doing that and I'd like to be consistent with doing that. My number 3 goal is to prepare for baby. So starting that nesting phase, getting the nursery set up, doing clothes washing, buying any additional things that I need to buy, and also putting together a little baby brunch just for mine and Dave's family. And then number 4 and 5 are kind of interwoven. So 4 is look after myself physically and mentally. So particularly with like more consistent drinking of water, healthy, nutritious meals. And then number 5 is develop healthy and uplifting routines in the new house. So thinking about what my morning routine, what my evening routine is going to look like here. How many times a week I'd like to get in some movement, whether that's going for a walk or doing some sort of YouTube exercise video. I will start like taking these 5 goals and now planning them into my daily schedule. Another thing that I've been using my planner for, I typically use this bullet journal to do my TBR and my book reviews, but I do have a page as part of my monthly reset planner for that. So I have already done my reading journal, my reviews for October, and set up my TBR list for November, which I was going to segue straight into the book segment of my monthly reset routine, but I decided to give you a little bit of cleaning and organization motivation instead. So this is over a couple of different days. So on this first day, I'm out in the garage and I've got these big plastic tubs that came in quite handy during the moving phase actually, and all of the black ones had existed out in our garage shed for a number of years, and then the grey ones we used inside, mostly on top of our wardrobes. But for now I'm going to be using them out in the garage, and I've just neatly stacked them up against this wall. And I know that this is not like super aesthetic, but I have just gotten paper and I'm writing what is inside each tub and just sticky taping it to the front, so it's very easy to identify. Maybe at some point I'll go back and actually type it and probably put it up there, laminate it, all that jazz, but for now that is just what we're doing. I'm also doing a little bit of laundry, so putting on a load of darks and then putting some clean laundry away. I love how I have all of my little microfiber cloths just neatly lined up, ready for action. And then I've also created this little nook out the back. I repurposed, it was originally a bookshelf I used in my study, and then I repurposed it again in the old house and used it for linen out in the laundry, and now I have repurposed it a 3rd time and I'm using it as a little tier for my current veggies / herb pots. At some point I would like to have a full-on veggie garden, but the backyard / front yard is in major construction zone at the moment, so this is what we're working with and I think it looks super cute. And then I'm going to zoom around the house and give it a quick vacuum. I really love these floors, they are super easy to keep clean, and vacuuming is probably my favorite chore. I know no one likes to do chores, but if I had to select one as my favorite, it would definitely be vacuuming, and I pretty much go over our high traffic areas every single day. Dave has also brought in my bookcase, and I'm setting that up in this little nook called the activities room. If you haven't seen my empty house tour, go and watch that and you can see sort of where the activities room fits in with our overall house plan. And I sort of took a lot of time going backward and forward deciding how I was going to have my books set up. So This middle row I've decided just to make a fun rainbow row, and then kind of every other shelf I'll have dedicated to a specific color. Some of them I have lined up horizontally, some of them I have stacked vertically. I kind of have a little bit of mix and match going on there, and I'm glad that I'm able to unpack these, because not only does that mean I'm able to get rid of a heap of boxes and break those down out in the garage, but it's also just one other area of the house I'm able to tidy up and get organized and vacuum as well.
You got me too. You can ride all the blue. I wanna do what you want to. We can leave and run away someday, someday. I've been saving you, and you save me too. Yeah, I need it. Don't you need me too? 'Cause I need you. Yeah, so call me anytime that you need a favor. Call me anytime I can come and sit in you.
So this is what this area looks like at the moment. I realize it is quite bare. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do fully with this space, but we are getting a blind to go there. And then I also want to show you guys my little zen slash workout room. So I've got my salt lamp, a fiddle leaf fig, my yoga mat, and then over in the corner I've also got some weights, blocks, medicine ball, and just some like ankle weights and whatever. So that's going to be our little workout area for now, and then just a fan in here as well. Our weight station that was in the spare room at our old house is currently out in the garage. It's not assembled at the moment, so that needs to happen. But I would love to get some like big meter by meter large rubber mats to go on the floor out in the garage, and then at some point down the track get a treadmill so that we have more of like a home gym sort of happening out there as well. But this is all way down the line stuff. Our to-do list in the new home is very extensive, and the price for some of these things is extensive as well. So it's just ticking off one thing on the to-do list at a time. But if you do want to see me sort of clean, decorate, and like the final product of other rooms in the house, make sure that you subscribe, because those videos are definitely coming your way. I also needed to rearrange my entryway. So if you saw my moving vlog, you would know that I had the table this way and I had my two fiddle leaf figs in the corner there. But what I realized is that this space gets virtually no light, so I had to move my plants elsewhere, and I'm happy with where they are. But now I just have this whole wall of like blank space. I did manage to put the little entryway table here, and I still have the books and little bits of decor on top, but this is just going to have to be a work in progress space for the moment. Obviously other areas of the house are taking greater importance, so we will get to decorating the entryway and making it inviting space later down the line. I realize this is not my usual location for the book reviews, but the lighting over there is absolutely horrendous, and Dave is also right outside the window using power tools. So for now, you guys are gaining a sneak peek at my bedroom. Full bedroom clean and decorate video is coming your way this month, so be excited. But for now, we're going to do my book reviews. So October. Now, number one, I had Sweet Magnolias. It was my September book. I did tell you guys that I was struggling through it and I was going to plow it into October, and I did manage to finish. My original September rating was 3.5 out of 5, and I did say that I would come back and assess whether that was accurate or not. I'm actually going to move it down to a 3 out of 5. I mean, I liked the TV show enough. I did feel that the book was kind of a little bit slow, and the romance angle that was happening between Maddie and Cal was kind of unrealistic in a sense. I feel like the TV show did a more realistic job of portraying their romance, but at the end of the book it deviated quite a lot from the TV show, and the romance just seemed to like be heightened and things happening that seemed very sudden. So for me, it just wasn't doing it, and it's so sad because I love that, really, you know, that South Carolina kind of whimsical beauty. And yeah, I feel like if you're a fan of the TV show, just stick to the TV show. And then moving on to the books that I actually selected for October. The first one I read was 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This is one of the ones I asked for from my mum for my birthday. And the first maybe 4 or 5 chapters, I was interested, but I was kind of slow going getting into it. But once I realized that the 6 people, you know, they were going on spring break in a camper van, and there was a sniper sort of taking out the wheels of their camper van and had them sort of stranded. And once I realized that that wasn't an accident, they didn't just, you know, come by this mysterious person, but the whole thing was actually intentional and a setup, and that the sniper is looking to uncover a secret that one of the people in the camper van had. That's when I really got into it, and from that point, about chapter 5 onwards, I read the rest of the book in maybe 2 days, because I was just so interested in finding out who's the target, what do they want to know, 5 survive, who doesn't survive out of this. And I felt like it was very thrilling. I do love Holly Jackson's other books, Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so it was definitely in line with like the quality of those, and I would rate this a 4.5 out of 5. And this is going to be my top rated book this month. Next up, I read Sydney Sheldon's Stranger in the Mirror, and I typically really like Sydney Sheldon's books. They're often thrillers, crime with a bit of a romance angle. I found this one to be more of a drama. Yes, there was a slight thriller element, and there was definitely a romance element, but I definitely found it to be more character driven, and a lot of backstory on the characters, and not that I minded, but I definitely didn't get through it as quick as what I typically would a Sydney Sheldon book. So I did finish this, but I'm not going to rate it as highly as some of the other ones I've read earlier in the year. I'm probably going to rate this one a 3.5 out of 5. And then my last book for October, because I did have a second Sydney Sheldon one that I had on my October reading list, and there's just no way I'm going to get through it. I haven't even started it, let's be honest. So I'm not even going to put it on my November list. If I happen to get through my November books and I can start on that one, that is fine. But I realized that I'm definitely overcommitting myself in terms of the number of books I think I'm capable of getting through at this point in time when life is quite busy. So we're putting the other Sydney Sheldon on the back burner, which meant that my last book for October was Midnight Sun. Now this is a chunky one, and as you can see, I'm currently not through a lot of it. I'm recording this the weekend before you guys are seeing it, so I still do have a full week of reading. What I'm finding is that there are a lot of chapters, but the chapters are quite long. So each time I do a stint, whether it's one chapter or two, I am sort of weaving my way through quite a substantial amount of this very thick book. Now, I am a Twilight fan, so I feel like that's definitely going to impact my perception of this book so far. I was actually talking to my sister about this yesterday. She didn't like Twilight. She found Bella and her character voice to be quite annoying, and I can definitely understand that. She was very much a not whiny type character, but like certainly over emotional in her head, very much wrapped up in Edward. I can understand how people would get frustrated with her. So reading this book from Edward's perspective, in some ways I like it more, in some ways I like it less. So the way that I like it less is, I think the appeal of Twilight as a female reader was the love story between Bella and Edward. And as a female, I could definitely relate more with Bella's perspective and how she viewed Edward and was captivated by him and their romance, as opposed to from the opposite side, from Edward's perspective. At the moment where I'm at, there's definitely like a infatuation interest brewing, but it's definitely not as intense and kind of seemingly life and death and woe is me teenage drama as it was in Bella's perspective. So I guess that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. One thing I really did like, what I am liking about Edward's perspective is he definitely has, and this makes sense because he's not really 17, he's 70, but he definitely has like a lot of maturity to his internal monologue and his character voice. I really feel like Stephanie Meyer has done a good job in duplicating the story but not making it a carbon copy. There's a very distinct difference between Bella's voice and perspective and that of Edward's. He's definitely more mature, he's very articulate, he's very well educated. The language choices reflect that. So I feel like she's done a really good job in doing that, and it's helped to bring Edward as a character to life and offer a lot of insight into him and his perspective, which you definitely don't get to see in Bella's perspective in the original Twilight. Edward seems a lot like an enigma. He's very much a mystery to her, and I guess in some ways that's part of her appeal and allure towards him. And simultaneously, that's kind of Edward's appeal towards Bella as well, because he can't read her mind the way that he does other people. She becomes a point of interest and intrigue, which sort of sparks, I guess, that love story between the two of them. So I am liking it so far. I'm preemptively going to rate it at a 4 out of 5. For me, it's not hitting at the same rating as I would Twilight. However, I read Twilight quite some time ago, so I'd be interested to read it again as an adult and see if I would rate it the same as I would as a teenager, because I was just like head over heels in love with Edward and just obsessed with that story back in the day. So back in the day, I would have definitely rated it a 5. So it'd be interesting to see if I would rate it the same as an adult reader. Now I'm going to move on to my November reads, and I'm being super realistic with myself this time. So I set myself with 4 October reads and a September carryover. Obviously, one of the October reads I didn't even get to at all. The other one I'm halfway through. So in the interest of being realistic, I have literally only selected 2 November reads, and they are both by Colleen Hoover, because one of them is November 9th, so title wise kind of makes sense in this month. And then I chose the other one, Ugly Love, because apparently some of the characters from this story feature in this story, and it's been recommended to me that I read Ugly Love first in order to kind of understand that character crossover. So November 9th on the back reads, Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, the day of her scheduled cross-country move. Their untimely attraction leads them to spend Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes the creative inspiration Ben has always sought for his novel. Over time, and amidst the various relationships and tribulations of their own separate lives, they continue to meet on the same date every year, until one day Fallon becomes unsure if Ben has been telling her the truth or fabricating a perfect reality for the sake of the ultimate plot twist. Can Ben's relationship with Fallon and simultaneously his novel be considered a love story if it ends in heartbreak? Now, this is sounding very dramery and romancy, and we know I've not had a great run with those lately, but I have had a pretty good run with Colleen Hoover. So I'm hoping that she's going to pull through for me and that I will be able to enjoy that one. And then Ugly Love says, it's not exactly love at first sight for Tate Collins when she meets the tormented and secretive Miles Archer. They wouldn't even go so far as to consider themselves friends. The only thing Tate and Miles have in common is a mutual physical attraction that can't be denied. Once their desires are out in the open, they realize they might have stumbled on the perfect no-strings arrangement. He isn't looking for love and she doesn't have time for it, so it leaves just the sex. What they've got could be surprisingly satisfying as long as Tate can stick to the 2 rules Miles has for her. Never ask about the past, don't expect a future. They think they can handle it, but everything is different when real emotions start to change the equation. Hearts get infiltrated, promises get broken, rules get shattered, love gets ugly. Okay. Certainly romance angle, but I feel like with the drama that's kind of happening in their friends with benefits situation, it could kind of make for a thrilling plot line. We will certainly see. If you have read either of those books, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts were on them. And if you have also read Midnight Sun, I'd like to know, what do you think? Edward's perspective, Bella's perspective, which one appeals to you more? Which one do you think is the more interesting read, Twilight or Midnight Sun? Let me know. Having said that, I feel like it is time to wrap up our November reset routine and just get into enjoying the month. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below. I put out new videos every single week. With that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.